Marcus, the film emperor, and I were childhood sweethearts, and our journey went from school to marriage. For him, I gave up the chance to become a star, even becoming his behind-the-scenes agent. But when he achieved fame and success, a younger, more vibrant junior, Daisy, appeared by his side. Between and me, he always stood by her. He let me suffer countless grievances because of Daisy, only to tell me he only saw Daisy as his biological sister. Then, I turned around and saw him passionately kissing Daisy on the street on the trending topics. Laughing out loud, what decent person would passionately kiss their biological sister on the street? It's always interesting to see how far this story will go. How would you rate this story, from 0 to 10? If you like it, you can subscribe. When loved me the most, at the peak of his career, he risked losing followers by publicly proposing to me in front of thousands of fans. That night, servers crashed across all major platforms. He lost over 1 million followers in one night. But he felt it was worth it for me. We went from school clothes to a wedding dress. Our journey hadn't been easy, but in the end, we overcame many difficulties and lived happily together. However, after 5 years of marriage, he changed ever since Daisy, who was nearly 10 years younger than me, started clinging to him. On our date nights, out of 10 sentences, Marcus would mention her name 8 times. Even when I deliberately changed the subject, Marcus would still connect the new topic back to her. His lips held a rare tenderness. Just today, Daisy and I shared the same birthday. The film set celebrated Daisy's birthday together. When and I returned to the hotel, he took a phone call, and his beautiful eyes were filled with laughter. He grabbed his jacket and told me, "You should rest first, I'm going out for a walk." A subtle hope stirred within me. From this morning until evening, because Marcus had wished Daisy a happy, everyone on the film set knew it was Daisy's birthday. Everyone wished her happy and offered their blessings. They even specially arranged a birthday party for her. Besides cupcakes, the film set also customized a large, beautiful cake for her. Yet, no one said happy to me. But I didn't care about any of that. I thought, as long as Marcus remembered, that was enough. He had never forgotten my birthday. So my heart fluttered with joy. He must be going out now to prepare a surprise for me. Maybe he'd get me a birthday gift and a special cake just for me. While he was gone, I specially prepared wine and his favorite spicy shrimp. He liked spicy shrimp, but because of his germophobia, he hated the greasy feeling of sauce on his hands when the disposable gloves tore while peeling, so I always peeled them for him. I waited and waited until the entire bowl of shrimp was peeled. I waited until my fingers were unconsciously poked by a crawfish claw, drawing blood. I waited until the skin around my fingernails turned white from peeling too many shrimp, and the faint pain reminded me that a long time had passed. Marcus still hadn't returned. My eyes also turned red from accidentally wiping them with my sauce-soaked fingers. The irritating chili oil made my eyes burn, and tears fell uncontrollably. He didn't return all night. He only came back at 6 in the morning, holding a somewhat wilted bouquet of roses. The shrimp meat soaked in chili oil had congealed. He saw me, waiting all night in the hotel, filled with expectation. His gaze held a hint of apology. His voice softened, "I'm sorry, I was too busy last night. Grace, I wanted to wish you a belated happy, but I brought you a cake specially." He remembered my birthday. So all the grievances seemed to vanish at that moment. What followed was surprise. He handed me the paper bag containing the cake. He left a kiss on my face and said, "Happy," then went to the shower to clean up. I curved my lips, touching my slightly warm face. While he was showery, I opened the cake he had brought. The mini ice cream cake had melted into a puddle of sugary liquid, mixing with the cake, resembling an barely recognizable blob. It wasn't very appealing, but I still ate it. The stale cake tasted bad and was a bit sickly sweet, but had brought it specially for me. While waiting for Marcus to shower, I happily opened my phone, wanting to post a social media update to remember the moment. But a social media post about Marcus had already been made by someone else. The photo collage was glaringly sharp. Daisy held a huge bouquet of roses, bigger than herself, leaning into Marcus's arms like a girl in love. There was a photo of Marcus personally peeling shrimp for Daisy, his usually fair and clean fingers stained with grease, yet his face showed no hint of disgust, only a slight curve of his lips. The last picture was of an ice cream cake. The appearance of that cake somewhat resembled the melted one he brought me. The caption read, "Thank you, Marcus, for celebrating my birthday with me. Men who diligently peel shrimp are the coolest. P.S. The ice cream cake someone specially made for me was super delicious, the best I've ever had, and the roses are beautiful too. My body trembled uncontrollably. I looked at the 11 wilted roses he gave me, then at the 99 vibrant, dewy roses Daisy held in her arms. It just felt ironic. So the cake he prepared for me was one he had made for another woman, and what he brought me was just the leftovers from that other woman. He said he was busy. Turns out he spent the entire night celebrating another woman's birthday. The lingering taste of cake in my mouth gradually turned bitter and astringent. So many years of feelings. I reassured myself not to have so much distrust. So, I thought, maybe he and Daisy were just friends. After all, they had been filming together for months. Nothing was going on between them. I shouldn't doubt Marcus. Besides, the film he and Daisy were working on was almost finished. After this film wrapped, he would immediately move on to another production. Their interactions would surely decrease. But after the wrap-up, he brought Daisy to me. Grace, you're the company's top agent. You've made so many artists famous. Please help mentor this kid too. She really has a talent for acting. Daisy also obediently said, Ms. Grace, please take care of me from now on. I'll definitely listen to you. Daisy had a cute, doll-like face, exuding youthful innocence. She often smiled, which was very endearing. With words spoken like that, I couldn't refuse. However, when I helped her choose a script for her next role, she praised me on the surface. I trust Ms. Grace's judgment. The roles Ms. Grace chooses never go wrong. But then, Marcus, with an angry expression, brought her to me. Grace, aren't you ashamed, being so petty with a kid? I was stunned by his sudden anger. Is there some misunderstanding? Daisy, from behind Marcus, said with a tearful voice, Ms. Grace, did you misunderstand Marcus and me? I don't know what I did wrong for you to target me. She sniffled. I just wanted to challenge myself with the 4th female role in Marcus's film set. Why do you insist on making me play an unlikable villain in another production? I asked Marcus, do you see me that way too? Do you think I have personal motives in my work? Marcus, however, was full of disappointment, but he firmly stood by Daisy, saying, compared to us, she's just a kid, how could she lie to frame you? Then he continued, you should apologize to Daisy. I'm inviting the director and producer to dinner tonight. You can atone for your mistake there and you must persuade the director and producer to give her the 4th female role. My heart turned completely cold at that moment. I asked him with a bitter smile, what if I don't apologize and don't go to that dinner? His eyes were filled with disappointment and anger. Fine. Because you're my wife, and it's your me. Stake. I also have a responsibility to bear it for you. If you don't come, I'll go alone to beg the director and producer. Whether it's drinking, humbling myself, or even kneeling, I'll do it. Because you owe them, I'll accept it. He wasn't paying a debt, he knew I couldn't bear to see him suffer. He was using himself to threaten me for another woman. My heart felt torn apart, a deep pain. Out of spite, I gritted my teeth, suppressing the intense pain in my heart, and said with a pale face, fine. I'll go. Some drinking customs are well established, while others are rather unsavory. Especially when some people, acting as elders and superiors, try to make things difficult for young people. Marcus was a film emperor, so the producers, directors, and executive producers present naturally wouldn't make things difficult for him. And I, as a senior top agent with abundant resources, would also be given some respect. They naturally turned their attention to Daisy. I've always believed that if you want something, you have to fight for it yourself. If a few drinks could get you an opportunity, then there was nothing wrong with that. After all, you gain some, you lose some. Amidst the toasts, the executive producer took a sip of wine, narrowed his eyes, and said to Daisy, young lady, can you drink? We old heavy drinkers don't like much else, but we love a good drink. Marcus doesn't drink, and Ms. Ye's stomach isn't well. Most people present knew me. I hadn't had a drink at a dinner party in a long time. You're young, you shouldn't mind having a few drinks with us, right? Daisy said, of course I don't mind, but her eyes looked to Marcus for help. Marcus's heart softened. He told me, she's still a kid, she doesn't have much of a tolerance for alcohol. She'll probably be drunk after a few drinks, and it's no fun for her to drink with you all. Let drink with you, she can hold her liquor. His tone showed no hesitation. Hearing him defend Daisy, all the blood in my body felt instantly frozen. Who was born able to drink anyone under the table? I only developed that for him. fighting for better resources at business dinners, risking my life. Sometimes, I'd get so drunk that as soon as I stepped outside, I'd hug a trash can and vomit, then just lie on the ground and sleep all night. It was lucky I didn't freeze to death then, as it wasn't a bone-chilling winter. But the next day, I still had to act as if nothing happened, not wanting him to worry. Frequent consumption of hard liquor had damaged my body, giving me severe stomach issues. Even slightly irritating food made my stomach ache terribly. When he learned I had stomach issues, he didn't say anything, but quietly cooked rice porridge for me for several months on the film set. He absolutely refused to let me attend any more business dinners. Fortunately, the films he acted in then became consecutive hits. We no longer had to beg others for roles, we could choose our scripts. I no longer needed to risk my life at business dinners. But now, for another woman, he personally pushed me back onto the drinking table. Because he couldn't bear to see the other woman suffer, he forgot I had stomach issues. I gripped the wine glass tightly, holding a sliver of hope, my voice persistent. Do you really want me to drink? Perhaps my eyes looked too hurt. He avoided my gaze, but still said, Daisy is still young. She doesn't have much alcohol tolerance, but you're different. My heart immediately felt torn and raw, and my mouth was bitter. I tilted my head back and drank it all. It was almost masochistic. I urged the director, the producer, and the rest of them to drink. Toast after toast. For every glass they drank, I drank the sum of their numbers. Actually, when they saw my intensity, they said to stop, but I felt a rebellious urge. I wanted Marcus to see. I was drinking because he wanted me to. Even if I developed a perforated stomach ulcer, it would be because of him. The hard liquor slowly burned in my stomach, making it ache terribly. But the pain from my heart was far greater than the stomach pain. I still drank glass after glass without changing my expression, letting the liquor churn in my stomach like sharp blades poking at it. It was the director who noticed my pale face. Grace, why are you so pale? And why are you sweating so much on your forehead? Maybe you should stop drinking. Let's just have some water. Marcus saw it and panicked. If you can't drink, then don't. Don't you have a mouth to say you're uncomfortable? He said this, but the concern on his face was undeniable. But when I told him I wasn't targeting Daisy, did he listen? When I asked him if he really wanted me to drink instead of Daisy, did he listen? His heart was biased towards Daisy, and his ears were naturally open to her. Words are for those who choose to listen. I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. Marcus stayed with me the whole way. He completed all the procedures himself, the checkup, the 4-drip, and completing hospital admission procedures. When I woke from my slumber, the pristine white ceiling made me freeze for a moment. Then, the next second, I felt a weight and softness in my right palm. I slowly turned my head and saw Marcus holding my hand, burying his face in my palm as he slept. His steady breathing was in my palm. I also felt dampness in my palm, as if from tears. He had cried. Because of me. In that instant, my soul felt touched. I knew I had softened. I craved the beauty of being with him at this very moment. I secretly rejoiced that he could still cry for me. I felt like a thief, wanting to steal all these beautiful moments, to prolong our happiness just a little longer, and then a little longer. However, a few minutes later, he woke up and instinctively, in a daze, tucked the blanket around me. But when his misty eyes met mine, he instantly sobered up, and a huge joy erupted in his eyes. You're finally awake. You don't know how worried I was about you. I'm sorry, I forgot that you got stomach issues from all the business dinners you attended for me. It's all my fault. How could I forget? How could I let you drink? His tone was truly remorseful. As his emotions peaked, a tear fell heavily from his eye, landing on the back of my hand. He squeezed my hand tightly. The doctor said if it had been any more severe, half of your stomach would have had to be removed. After speaking, he slapped himself hard. It was a full-force slap. His fair skin immediately turned red and swollen. Just as he was about to slap himself a second time, I quickly grabbed his hand. My voice was hoarse. I'm not angry. I looked at him earnestly, my voice very serious. Marcus, can we be good to each other? I admit I don't like Daisy. I always feel that, compared to her, you always favor her more. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but even for my sake, can you please keep your distance from her? Marcus hesitated for a moment. He pursed his lips, then nodded. I promise you, I'll keep my distance from Daisy from now on. But I want to explain to you that I only see her as a child, as a sister. Seeing her navigate the entertainment industry reminds me of my own struggles when I was starting out, which is why I instinctively wanted to help her. Please don't misunderstand. Our misunderstanding was resolved. During my hospital stay, we returned to our previously happy times. We had endless conversations. We talked about our past. During this time, Daisy kept messaging him. When he didn't reply, Daisy called him. He didn't answer. We were like newlyweds, curled up on the nightstand, reading the same book. We took walks together in the hospital's small garden. The only time we weren't together was when he went home to cook stomach-friendly meals and rice porridge for me personally. The food was bland, but it was my favorite flavor. I was clearly much better, but he still treated me like a patient, insisting on feeding me himself. When the nurse came to change my drip, she saw this scene and her eyes twinkled playfully. My ears turned bright red. He, however, said calmly, marital intimacy. Those few days in the hospital were truly blissful. But on the day before I was due to be discharged, Marcus, who usually arrived promptly at the ward by noon after cooking, was late by over 2 hours. Worried that something had happened to him, I called him many times and sent many text messages. But they were like stones sinking into the deep sea. I was so anxious I wanted to be discharged early. But the nurse persuaded me, it's only been a bit over an hour, hasn't it? He might have been delayed by something. Just wait a little longer, you still have a few more drips today. You two have been married for so many years, and you're still as loving as newlyweds. I'm truly envious. My husband and I were like that when we got married, 7. Now, we just lie on opposite sides of the bed, not bothering each other. When arrived, heavily disguised and carrying a thermos, my heart finally settled. The nurse couldn't help but tell him, you wouldn't believe it, you were just a little late, and your wife was so worried about you. His lips curved into a smile. Then he naturally took my hand and walked into the ward. I'm sorry, my phone died, and I had some work to deal with. I promised to keep my phone charged 24 hours a day from now on. I tightened my grip on his hand. It's okay, as long as you're all right. I was almost ready to be discharged, yet he still insisted on feeding me. But as soon as the rice porridge touched my lips, I froze slightly. He blinked, asking, what's wrong? I said nonchalantly, you must have worked hard today, dealing with work and cooking for me. A flicker of uneasiness crossed his eyes, gone in an instant, and he said, cooking for someone you like isn't hard at all. My heart instantly plummeted. I had eaten the rice porridge he cooked for me so many times, and he had never put any seasonings in it. But this time, I tasted a strong seasoning flavor. And his other dishes. They were the same dishes, but because I was sick, he usually cooked them bland. Today, the flavors were unusually strong. A person's cooking style wouldn't undergo a drastic change in just one day. But he lied to me, saying today's meal was made by him. Connecting this with his tardiness earlier today, an uneasy premonition arose in my heart. While he was washing dishes in the bathroom, I glanced at his phone on the nightstand. It wasn't dead, as he had claimed, it was actually over 90% charged. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen. Thank you, Marcus, for the meal today. I wonder if I'll have the chance to eat it again? A lump suddenly choked in my chest, neither going up nor down. Suddenly remembering something, I pulled out my phone and opened Daisy's social media feed. Half an hour ago, she had posted a social media update. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I got my grease today. The accompanying photos included rice porridge and a few home-cooked dishes. There was also a very subtly angled photo, with a hand visible in the corner, and the ring on his ring finger was so familiar. That ring was one I had picked out after accompanying him to countless stores in various cities during his filming, finally deciding it was the perfect match for him. The last photo was a photo of empty plates and bowls. He said today that cooking for someone he liked wasn't hard at all. I suddenly couldn't tell if the person he liked he spoke of was me, or Daisy. A piece of my heart suddenly felt missing, an empty void. Outside, crows cawed annoyingly outside the window, as if mocking me, calling me a joke. For a moment, my mind was in turmoil. I wondered whether to directly expose his lie or to pretend nothing had happened. In my dilemma, I followed him to the next film set. And was there too. Daisy was new to the industry. She only had one assistant with her. The film studio was intensely hot. Usually, famous stars would hide in their RV trailer. Daisy, drenched in sweat, followed us. Her voice was pitiful and pleading. Her eyes blinked sadly as she cajoled Marcus, Marcus, it's really too hot outside. I don't have any scenes right now. Trailer to cool off? Marcus neither refused nor agreed, instead, he looked at me. But if he had truly wanted to refuse, he wouldn't have looked at me. His silence was the best answer. Since he wanted it so badly, I naturally facilitated it. Come on in if you want to cool off. Otherwise, someone might think I'm targeting you, bullying you, and not letting you in. Marcus couldn't help but frown. He opened his mouth and said, "My wife is so kind, who would dare say that about you?" A sarcastic smile played on my lips as I just looked at Marcus. His eyes darted away. Trailer, Marcus's face was initially cold. However, Daisy seemed oblivious to his deliberate coolness. She was incredibly sweet-talked him. She kept being playful and charming to amuse him. Marcus quickly lost his composure and was soon completely captivated by her. He didn't trailer. After all, an RV. A marriage with 3 people was the same. Soon, Marcus completely forgot his promise to me. Trailer to escape the heat. Seeing that I didn't object as much as he'd expected, he even asked Daisy to join us for the meals I prepared for him. The thought of divorce kept circling in my mind. On one side were the memories of the happiness Marcus and I once shared, and on the other, his blatant favoritism towards Daisy. Reluctance and must give up tugged at me, making me hesitate to make a decision. Until, while filming outdoors, there was a scene where the male lead and the 4th female role confronted each other by the riverbank because of the female lead. Daisy couldn't get into character. Her acting was too forced, her expressions overly intense, making it look very fake. They shot it over a dozen times, but it still didn't achieve the desired effect. The film set staff had been exposed to the sun for half the day with her, and murmurs of resentment gradually arose. No wonder she was temporarily pushed into the film set by connections. Her acting really isn't good. Her acting is terrible. Can just anyone be an actor now? I suggest she goes back and practices more. Don't make a fool of yourself here, seriously delaying the film set's progress and making us bake in the sun with her. Seriously, I think Marcus's agent would act better than Daisy, and Marcus's agent is much prettier than Daisy. She feels more suitable for the 4th female role. Daisy is like an inexperienced rookie. These words reached Daisy's ears. Her face instantly fell. But then, she suddenly thought of something, and her eyes darted around. She narrowed her eyes. Finally, she walked up to the director with a smile and suggested, "Director, why don't you let Ms. Grace act it out? She's the most discerning agent, her script selection ability is first-rate. So, her understanding of the role must be spot on. If I go through the scene with her, maybe I'll have an unexpected breakthrough." The director thought about it and found it reasonable, so he told me, "Ms. Yi, why don't you act it out once, so she can get a feel for it?" Other staff members also agreed. As for Marcus, when the director repeatedly called cut, he was visibly more anxious than Daisy herself. He personally coached Daisy and comforted her repeatedly. Unfortunately, it had no effect. Daisy still messed up. Marcus immediately spoke up, "This scene has been stuck for a long time. Please help her out. Look how tired the staff are." He made it sound as if the staff's exhaustion was my fault if I didn't help her. To put it bluntly, he was emotionally manipulating me for Daisy. But looking at the exhausted staff, drenched in sweat, I ultimately chose to compromise. Actors might be tired, but the staff's hardship could be several times theirs, and their compensation often didn't match their sweat. Before the director called action, Daisy even hypocritically said, "Thank you, Ms. Grace." Originally, the scene was between the male lead and me, but she volunteered to play the male lead's role opposite me, to more directly understand the 4th female role. However, she couldn't carry the male lead's role. Her acting was too immature, with many micro-expressions. She opened her mouth, "Did I tell you not to provoke Vivi?" Vivi, why do you call her so intimately? I'm the one who's always been by your side." I tried to portray the 4th female role's fear in front of the male lead, to highlight the male lead's oppressive aura. This was also known as the male lead's halo. She placed one hand on my shoulder and squeezed my chin with the other. "How dare you think you can compare to her? What right do you have to compare to her?" My shoulder was tightly squeezed by her, and I struggled to portray trying to break free but being unable to. Those watching our rehearsal held their breath. But in the next second, a powerful push shoved me directly into the water. My entire body was soaked. As the river water permeated every inch of my body, bad memories from the past resurfaced in my mind. I struggled in the water, even crying out, "Help." Just as someone from the film set was about to jump in to save me, Daisy stopped them. This must be Ms. Grace's improvisation. Look, the fourth female role falling into the water by her own doing. Doesn't that increase the thrill? No wonder Ms. Grace can be a top agent, TSK, that acting, she could totally be an actress. Others instinctively looked at Marcus. After all, I was his wife, and he should know me best. He should also remember that when he drowned, I jumped in without hesitation to save him. But a drowning person in the water easily clings to their rescuer like a lifesaver, unconsciously entangling them. I could only hold him up underwater, gradually pulling him to safety. But IW. As already exhausted, slowly sinking into the water myself. That was the closest I had ever been to death. The water relentlessly squeezed my breathing space. I couldn't breathe, helplessly waiting for it to steal my last breath of oxygen. Fear and terror filled my heart. But I had no regrets about saving Marcus. However, perhaps heaven had pity. Eventually, I was pulled ashore by someone. But after that, I never dared to swim again, and I was even afraid of going into the water. I developed a natural fear of rivers and lakes. I thought Marcus would remember. But it was all just what I thought. Because when the staff members looked at him, asking if I could swim, as Daisy claimed, and if I was just improvising, he remained silent. Only unimportant things are forgotten. The icy river water kept robbing me of my vitality. I once again felt my life being threatened. That suffocating feeling, I never thought I would experience it a second time. Everything went dark before my eyes. Gradually, I no longer had the strength to struggle. Death had quietly arrived. Just then, someone screamed, "Is Agent unable to swim? She's not moving in the water." Daisy was still trying to stop the staff from saving me. "No, she's probably holding her breath underwater." Until someone said, "If something really happens to her, can you take full responsibility?" Only then did she stop talking. When I was rescued, I was unconscious. Fortunately, someone on the film set knew emergency first aid for drowning and snatched me back from the clutches of death. Later, I was taken to the hospital again. But the first thing Marcus said when he saw me awake was, "Don't blame Daisy, she didn't mean it. She didn't know you couldn't swim." My throat felt as if it had been scraped by coarse sand. I asked him, "She didn't know, but didn't you know either?" He frowned, but for a moment, it was as if his memories were unearthed from the deepest part of his mind. Yet he still said, "Aren't you fine? Why do you have to be so petty? Since you escaped from the clutches of death, shouldn't you be a little kinder, a little more forgiving?" I was completely disappointed in him. I told him to get out. Seeing that I was all right, he said, "I'll visit you next time." But the next time he came to find me was when the cheating scandal between him and Daisy was raging. Pictures of him and Daisy dating and passionately kissing were clearly taken. The public deeply detests cheating. He was caught cheating, and she was a homewrecker. It became common knowledge and they were universally condemned. His social media followers plummeted, and his major fan announced unfollowing. Just then, he came to me. But even then, he was still denying it. "The rumors about Daisy and me aren't true. I only see her as my biological sister." I almost laughed. What kind of brother kisses his biological sister? He saw my laugh and seemed displeased. "If others don't believe me, do you not believe me either?" I asked him, "So what?" "So, go tell the media that Daisy and I were just rehearsing, and that I had reported it to you beforehand, and you were aware." An idea suddenly popped into my head. I told him, "How about we finalize the divorce? As long as we get a divorce, your relationship with her will be considered normal, not cheating." He still hesitated. I couldn't help but kindly remind him, "Even if I tell the media you notified me, some people still won't believe it. Can you guarantee you'll maintain a normal distance from Daisy in the future? If not, you'll still be labeled as a cheater. Next time, even if there's nothing between you and Daisy, as long as the paparazzi catch you together, you and Daisy won't escape public discussion. You'll be fine." After all, the entertainment industry is usually more lenient towards male celebrities, but she'll be miserable, labeled a homewrecker. I lay comfortably on the hospital bed. "However, it's up to you which of the two methods you choose. ICA and cooperate with either." But in reality, I wasn't giving him a choice, it was a mandatory decision. I knew him too well. He would definitely choose to divorce me, because he cared deeply about his status in the entertainment industry. Between everything he possessed in the entertainment industry and our marriage, maybe in the past, he would have chosen me. But now, he would definitely choose his status and reputation. I could now calmly accept that Marcus no longer loved me, and that he couldn't bear for Daisy to be called a homewrecker. Actually, it wasn't that I hadn't thought about suggesting divorce to him, but I knew he wouldn't agree. Only this way could make him willingly divorce me. We successfully signed the divorce agreement. After the 30-day divorce waiting period, he seemed hesitant to finalize the divorce. I told him, fans nowadays are incredibly sharp, like detectives. If they find out you and I haven't truly divorced, the cheating label will genuinely stick to you. He signed without hesitation and pressed his fingerprint. While waiting for the divorce certificate, he didn't forget to tell me, once this blows over, we'll remarry and tell the fans we've reconciled. After getting the freshly issued divorce certificate, I couldn't help but scoff. If you want to marry, find Daisy. I'm not going to be around for that. Sometimes I find you ridiculous. You say you treat Daisy like your biological sister, but would you passionately kiss your biological sister on the street? He suddenly looked up. What do you mean? I looked at him, my eyes filled with unconcealed disgust, and said word for word, I think you're absolutely disgusting. Kissing your own sister is truly repulsive. Standing next to you, I feel like the air is polluted. So, from now on, get away from me. His face instantly turned pale. He looked a little pitiable. Unfortunately, I would never turn back for him again. I blocked his contact information. I also resigned from the entertainment company that Marcus had signed with. It was time for me to live for myself. So I planned to establish my own entertainment company. Many now popular stars whom I had previously managed were willing to sign with me. Their joining, combined with my reputation, attracted many unique young actors. My career flourished. Marcus's, however, was on a downward spiral. His acting was excellent, but acting needed to align with the script and character. Without me to choose scripts for him, he lacked the eye for choosing scripts and roles himself, and the company only wanted him to mentor new talent. The projects he took on bombed completely. During this time, almost as if to provoke me, wherever I appeared, he would always show up with Daisy in front of me. All sorts of intimate displays, public kissing, and showing off their affection. Unfortunately, my heart felt no ripple. In the entire year since our divorce, he was almost continuously on film sets, but not a single one of his projects became a hit. He finally grew anxious. He came to find me. He said, actually, these days, Daisy and I showing affection in front of you was all to make you jealous. I've always cared about you. There's truly nothing between Daisy and me. My marital status has always been empty. I've been waiting for you to remarry me. I raised an eyebrow. You want to remarry me? Go to the hospital and get checked for any infectious diseases, then I'll consider it. He hesitated, then asked, what do you mean? I slowly stroked my chin. Oh, you don't know? Daisy has an STD. As long as you haven't been infected, then I'll believe that you and Daisy are completely innocent. As if suddenly realizing something, his expression drastically changed. Yet I innocently asked him, why does your face look so terrible? Didn't you say there's nothing between you and Daisy? As long as you haven't been intimate with Daisy, an STD won't spread, so you don't need to worry. I kindly advised him. His face went through shock of green and white. Finally, he stumbled away. My friend saw Daisy at the hospital getting treated for an STD and told me. And after I found out, I immediately rushed to the hospital for a checkup. Because STDs aren't only transmitted sexually, there are also direct and indirect transmission methods. The reason I told Marcus that it would spread through sexual contact was just to provoke him. Fortunately, the test results were healthy. Later, I investigated Daisy's background. I discovered that before she debuted, she worked at shady nightclubs. After kindly informing Marcus of the truth, I immediately reported it to the police. Because of Daisy pushing me into the water. Fortunately, the director had filmed that scene, which could serve as evidence to prove she was suspected of attempted murder. The day she was arrested, with an if I go down, you go down with me mentality, she directly exposed that Marcus also had an STD when entertainment reporters and paparazzi pursued her for her attempted murder charges. All trending topics related to Marcus immediately became infamous. The heat remained high. Marcus was completely ruined. No one dared to hire him for acting roles anymore. Moreover, before Marcus and I even divorced, his cheating with Daisy was dug up. After all, when someone's down, everyone's kicking them, and there were photos, solid evidence, and a clear timeline. He could never recover. The entertainment industry is very lenient towards male celebrities involved in cheating scandals, but he had an STD. Who would dare get involved with him? Due to his numerous scandals, many endorsements and advertisements involved breach of contract penalties. His entire fortune was used to pay breach of contract penalties, leaving him penniless. As for Daisy, the evidence of attempted murder was conclusive, and she was sentenced. Later, I met someone I liked again. While on a date with him, on a cold winter day, a beggar dressed in thin clothes asking for money with a dirty face felt somewhat familiar. My new boyfriend was very kind and saw the pitiable beggar. He gave him 100 in cash. The beggar kept his head down, only softly saying thank you. When my boyfriend and I walked further away and I looked back, the beggar was nowhere to be seen. I didn't look back again either. Because people, after all, must look forward. This time, I was absolutely certain I had met the right person. He and I would be happy forever.